human self presents to me many challenges that burden me. My heart center shines and calls to me. This is who I choose to be. Sometimes lessons.
Welcome to the Vibrational Alchemy Podcast. This is Penny Fisher, and we are so glad you are joining us for this week's episode. Hello, my beautiful darlings. Listen, I am always in tremendous gratitude for being with you, but today, I don't know what it is. My heart's just a little bit more open than usual. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here with you, as I always am. So today, I want to talk with you and kind of unpack with you this experience that I had earlier this week, which actually truthfully kind of took me by surprise. And I'm really curious to think through it with you as we always do together. So I was walking with a group that I love and trust, my walking ladies. And one of the things that came up was this idea about sharing an experience that we felt had made us stronger. And because this is a profoundly beautiful and amazing group of people, they were sharing stories from their lives that just melted my heart, right? They're talking about the pain and the agony of protracted divorces, right? They are talking about recovery from addiction. They're talking about grief and loss. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful. And any of you who know me know that I don't tend to stay quiet for too long, but I was not really responding. And finally, they asked me, they said to me, "So Penny, how about you?" And without even thinking, the words that came out of my mouth were that the really ugly, really difficult, really dark times in my life actually did not make me stronger. They invited me to soften. They invited me to surrender. They invited me to allow, and they taught me and continue to teach me to this day to be okay with going with the flow as long as I was anchored in my heart and in a place of self-love. And full disclosure, really early on, when I was really at the beginning of all of this work of loving myself, of connecting with source, of just being the best version of me that I could be, I didn't always know about staying in my heart space. And so when I didn't, and I was more worried about what was going on around me and what other people would think, that's where the contraction came in, right? And that's where those times were difficult. And what I know now is, had I been willing to just release and allow from the get-go, there would have been grief, there would have still been pain, but it wouldn't have lasted as long, right? So I want to kind of, like I said, unpack this with you a little bit this week, because I really wonder if this idea of softening actually is a new paradigm that we're moving into in terms of what really constitutes strength. So let's think together for a quick minute about traditional ideas of what strong is, right? Strong is being than someone else. And what I mean by is you are stronger, smarter, faster, um, more knowledgeable. I'm just kidding. But so you have an edge. You are better, in other words, than somebody else. So that's one way I think that we've been acculturated to think about strong. Another experience that I've had is this space from which being strong means that even when you feel like you want to crawl under the covers for the rest of your life, or when you want to have a meltdown, when you want to just cry and empty out all the pain and the grief, that you have to put on your big girl or big boy pants, right? Soldier up, put on your happy face and go to work, right? So even when when our inner guidance system is inviting us into that place of honoring the processing of what's difficult, we can't. We have to show a happy face to the world. We have to suck it up, buttercup, and get on with life, right? Um, Another way that I can think about this is to follow rules, even when the rules don't fit you. So, how many of us either are now or have for years following or followed rules that someone else says we need to follow in order to be what other people say is successful, right? Even when, and this goes to the next definition of strength, even when it flies in the face of our intuition, right? And I get it. Flipping the bird at those institutional norms is really scary because it can have real life consequences. When we follow that inner intuition, when we soften, when we listen, we can um, we can actually open up a flow, an energetic flow that allows us to step into the life that we truly, truly desire to live. And I've had a number of those experiences in my life where one of them was years ago. Um, I started grad school and then decided content was not a good fit for me. So I left. And I had always been interested, or I thought I was always interested in going into a career in law. And so I thought, okay, before I spend all this money, let me go get a job working at a law firm. And I did. And I decided pretty quickly that that also was not a good fit for me. Interestingly, I think that uh, belief that I wanted a career in law actually came from my parents. But enough said about that. And I could have pursued that, made a career out of it, followed all the rules, um, and done the thing that really did not fill my heart. But instead, I really made the decision that this was not what I wanted. And before I knew it, I swear I do not remember making this decision. I was enrolled in graduate work to get my teaching certificate and went on to have a 30-year career in public education that I wouldn't trade for anything. I got to really make a difference in the lives of children and families. And, um, the people I worked with and worked for are still dear, dear friends, right? So, but that required me to soften and to release these ideas about what I should be doing, right? And there's an earlier episode called Stop Shooting on Yourself. So that kind of goes with this idea. I think we are very often acculturated to be strong for others, right? I was speaking with a client the other day who shared that um, she was with a friend who was having a difficult time. And this client of mine also is navigating some unbelievably big changes and heart openings in her own life. And she walked out the door without giving this friend of hers a hug because she just couldn't at that moment. She honored herself. Now, what happened was in honoring herself, her heart kind of popped open and she went back and was able to be there for her friend. But because she had been there for herself first, because she didn't subscribe to this idea that she has to put herself second and everyone else first. And so I think in general, this idea of being strong, the traditional paradigms, very much are associated with what we call the unconscious masculine energy, right? And this is energy that is all about having power over others. This is the energy of being better than, constantly being in motion, constantly being driven. Those are the kind of 10,000-foot view characteristics of what we call the unconscious masculine. Traditional ideas about soft usually are associated with, I mean, let's name them, right? Being weak, giving in to other people, not being able to accomplish or achieve goals, being lazy, not being driven, and are very, very much associated again with feminine energy, especially the energy of the divine feminine, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, can appear that way. But actually, it's not. It takes tremendous strength, right? So that we have these two energies at play, the traditional, more masculine view of being strong, and the traditionally feminine view of being weak or soft. And these are gross overgeneralizations, but I think in our society, they hold pretty true. So when we talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine aspects, we're talking about aspects of ourself. This is not about gender identity or sexual identity. It has nothing to do with that. These are just energetic resonances that we all have within us. The divine feminine is about nonlinear, creative, go with the flow, be present, be in the moment energy. And the divine masculine is about stepping into action, being analytical, moving forward in order to bring into reality the dream, the new project, the new idea that the divine feminine has been working on. The problem comes when these energies are imbalanced. And I think for the last few millennia, they have been. There has been an imbalance tipped in favor of the ascendancy of the unconscious masculine. And there's a whole bunch of history behind that. We're not going to go into that today. But what we want to do is we want to come back into balance. It's not about getting rid of divine masculine energy. We need it. But we want to come into a place of balance, so much balance that the masculine energy honors and respects that feminine energy of creativity, of perceived softness, of whimsy, of exploration. And literally will create space, will hold space for that feminine energy to begin to um, gather what's needed in order to give birth. The divine feminine then honors the divine masculine so that when that nudge, that inner intuition comes and it says, okay, you've gathered everything. Now you need to write the podcast. Now you need to um, contact the person who's going to finance your new project. Now you need to write that email. She trusts that energetic of now it's time to move into action, and she does. And so there's this interplay, there's this beautiful, beautiful dance back and forth, which leads me to wonder if this idea of being soft, of allowing, is actually a way of being strong. It's been my experience that it takes a lot of strength to honor both sides of ourselves. It takes a lot of strength to listen to that internal guidance that says, now it's time to take a nap. I have so much to do. I need to get this report written. I need to, but I need to rest. I need to take a day off. I need to go for a walk after work, but I have to pick the kids up. Okay, maybe I'll pick the kids up and take them for a walk with me, right? To honor that inner guidance to rest, to receive. And that takes a lot of, to me anyhow, it takes a lot of strength because we're taught that we shouldn't do those things, right? It takes strength to be able to find a balance between flow and being regimented. And I think that strength is actually the reflection of a kind of discipline, right? So as I moved from going 100 gazillion miles an hour, 5, 6, 7 days a week for decades in my career, to being retired. Now, we had a transition year during which we were very, very busy. I really struggled with this idea of finding balance, because when I would feel like I needed to just sit and stare at the wall or take a nap, it gave me guilt. I should be going, I should be doing, I should be creating, I should be building a new business, I should be taking another class, right? So it took me a long time to develop the strength to find balance between these two aspects of myself. It took even more strength to allow the places where the new groove that I had found for myself that was working beautifully now needed to be changed, right? So I would come up with a schedule for myself that seemed to allow for a balance between flow and action. And it would work really, really well for months. And then I would notice that I needed more time just to sit, or I would start really resenting having to do the action pieces to the point where they were becoming difficult, right? There was no flow. And it took strength to give myself permission to pause and to say, what's going on here for me? Right? That's another recent episode, The Power of the Pause. And to notice that my energetic needs had now shifted. There was something new. There is actually something new that wants to come into being. But in order to access that, I have to give myself more time and more space to be in flow. The actionable pieces still need to get done, but they're getting done differently in very different ways. There are days now where I wake up and I'm like, okay, this is great. I need to do X, Y, and Z. And before I know it, those are done. And I have gone back to the next set of A, B, and C. I'm writing, I'm recording, I'm creating. It's great. And there are other days where I get up and I say, okay, I have to get X, Y, and Z done today. Oh, but look, there's this going on. Oh, there's that. Oh, I'm really tired. I think I just need to take a rest. Oh, I need to call my friend or my colleague. And before I know it, the day is gone and I have seemingly accomplished nothing. It takes strength that looks like softness to be able to honor what's happening within me. Being soft actually allows you to open your heart. It allows you to take a deep dive into what we believe is our shadow side, right? The places where we are ashamed of ourselves. We're embarrassed about ourselves. And so we're terrified of them, right? I'm terrified of not being productive. I'm ashamed when I sit around all day for days and do what looks like nothing. The old paradigm of strength would tell me, set the alarm, and no matter how you're feeling, drag your butt to your chair, sit at your desk, and get it done. The new paradigm of strength that I'm playing with here with you would say, honor it, invite it in, ask it what's going on, and then go with that flow. Trust it. When we are able to soften and move out of judgment and into compassion, when we are able, and I'm talking about the places where we judge ourselves, when we are able to soften and move out of fear and into unconditional love, again, this is about our relationship with ourselves. Our love of self deepens, and we become okay with ourselves just as we are. Even the parts that we really don't want to look at or don't want to acknowledge, or at least for me, I don't want to feel the physicality of that tension in my body. Softening gives us permission to be strong. And it takes that soft strength to be able to love ourselves so much that we realize that it is not our job to fix or change anyone outside of ourselves. It's not our job to fix or change ourselves in response to what anyone thinks of us. The most powerful gift, my beautiful, beautiful darlings, that you can give to the world is to do your own inner work. To sit and notice those places where you feel like that old paradigm of hard, right, is the only option that you have. And to ask it why. Why do I feel like I have to stay on this rigid schedule every day? Why do and listen, there might be realities in your life related to your work or to family that do require a rigid schedule. Within there, though, are there places where you can make what I was talking to a friend the other day? Are there places where you can make micro choices that will honor yourself? Are there places where you can eat healthier food, not because you should, but because you're softening into a place of loving yourself so much that you want to to care for your body? Are there places where you can make micro choices not to spend time with the most toxic people in your life? Are there places where you can make micro choices to put on your sneakers and go out for a walk at lunchtime or on your break? Or to close the door to wherever your space is, to your office or wherever you are. Or I have a friend who actually will go out to her car at lunchtime so that she can be out of what is an incredibly toxic work environment, right? The more we soften, or maybe we should say the more we allow soft to be the new strong, the more that we can come into alignment with our inner guidance system, the more we can allow this balance between divine feminine and divine masculine energies. And when we come into alignment like that, it is so much easier for us to hold space for the journeys of other people. And that's what we want, right? We want to honor them. We want to show them compassion. We want to, when we get into a space where we hear or we see or we're confronted by someone or something that is very clearly not in alignment with the way we see the world, and I don't know about you, but I am faced with a lot of that right now, given what's happening in the world. When we are confronted with that, we make the choice to soften out of judgment, out of anger, and create this container of compassion that we can invite the other person or the other situation into, because it's a space of unconditional love. We don't need to judge them. We don't need to change them. We don't need to fix them. We hold the space of love. We have softened enough, and or we have accepted the possibility of this new paradigm as soft as the new strong, to understand deeply that judgment, punishment that we've been trained to believe are necessary parts of the way we walk in the world, that those things are actually indicators of places where we think that we deserve to be judged and punished. And it takes unbelievable strength to soften, to hold space and not judge, to hold space and send love, to allow ourselves to simply be. It doesn't mean that we agree with what's going on around us. It doesn't mean that we condone it. It doesn't mean that we don't speak our truth in the space. But we do it simply because it's who we are, and not from a place of trying to fix someone else or change their minds or convince them that they need to be walking in the world that we are. Soften and flow, my darlings, soften and flow. So how do we do this? This is big work, right? And this is lifetimes of acculturation. And for me, at least, a simple daily routine is always the place to start. When we try to do too much too fast, and this is just for me anyhow, when I take on too much, it backfires. So I'm going to offer this to you as a little daily routine. And as always, I encourage you to play with this, to modify it, revise it, or just straight up ignore it. The most important thing is that you find a way for this to work for you. Okay? So in the morning, when you get up, either just before you get out of bed, that seems to be my time, because once my feet hit the floor, my brain's in gear, right? Or if you have time once you get up to just find a quiet place to sit. And I'm talking 5 to 10 minutes here. We're not talking about hours of meditation. Just close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Let your breath slow down. Let your inhale fill your torso and your exhale take as long as your exhale did. You drop into your heart space. You'll find it there. It's a beautiful chamber, this sacred space that's just yours. And you'll see a portal there. And you open that portal and you invite in what's called the cosmic matrix. This is a river of rainbow colored diamond light that holds the vibration of pure, unconditional love. You invite it into your chamber and ask it to infuse you, to flood your physical body. Ask it to cleanse and clear your body of all dense energy and low vibration, all contraction and fear. Ask the light of the cosmic matrix to bring you into alignment with unconditional love. You can stay there, or you can invite that river of energy now to flow out into the field that surrounds your body, the human biofield, and cleanse it and clear it. And that might be enough. Or you can invite the light of the cosmic matrix to amplify even more and now flow out beyond your aura, your field, your biofield, and cleanse and clear your home, your family, your neighborhood, your town, your state, your country, the earth, the oceans, whatever feels right for you. And whenever you feel like you're done, just find yourself back in your heart chamber. Offer gratitude and just come back into the here and now. Just that exercise every day will start to clear out old programming, old beliefs, old wounds, old identities that have kept us in the space of rigid strength, the kind of strength that does not allow for balance and flow. You will discover that softening, flowing can actually be a form of tremendous strength. And as that aspect of you begins to flow, you will notice a deepened connection to source energy in whatever way you experience it. You will be able to access your divine blueprint of perfection with more ease. And as your heart opens, you will come into deeper relationship with your beautiful self, remembering who you truly are, which is a divine being filled with love and filled with light. I am, as always, so grateful to you for joining me to unpack soft as the new strong. I am Penny Starhart, and this has been the Vibrational Alchemy Podcast. Until we are together again, remember always that you are loved and you are love.
This is who